So what knife that I make would I recommend for the deer hunter? It's going to be one in one of these three steels that I work with. A2 tool steel, CPM 154, or CPM S90V. Now, these metals that I work with my heat treatments hold an edge for a very long time. They're not too bad to sharpen, and they are all tough. That being said, I'm going to get into the particulars. A2 is the easiest one to sharpen. It holds an edge in between the other two, so it goes quite a long ways with that ease of resharpening. The only downside is that it's going to require oiling from time to time, and it does have a higher potential to rust because it is not a stainless steel. The CPM 154, very tough, not quite as tough as A2, a little more work to sharpen. Edge doesn't go quite as far, still can skin out an entire bull elk without an issue with a fresh edge, but it is stainless, so you don't have to worry about the rusting factor as much, because there's no such thing as a metal that doesn't rust. Let's see here, or at least a stainless steel that doesn't rust. CPM S90V holds an edge longer than either of those two. It is more work to sharpen than each of those two, but with my heat treatment it's still very tough. It does fall in third place there, so you got those three things. So ease of resharpening, stainlessness, toughness, and middle ground on all things, and then longest holding edge. Any one of those steels for me is going to be pretty tough and be able to get the job done. It all depends on what your priority is. If ease of resharpening is your thing, A2 is the way to go. If low maintenance and durability is your thing, CPM 154 is the way to go. But and remember, S90V for me is still very tough. It's just going to be a little more work to sharpen. And then design. So I right now have two main designs on my store of these steels. One is my Kephart design, the other one is my Hunter Bushcrafter. Now, I personally can go either way on those because the handle shape is the biggest difference, but the thing I don't like to compromise on is thickness of the blade. So what I would recommend in thickness is nothing under 0.14 inches, because occasionally in the field you want to use a knife for something that you don't typically use a knife for, or you might have to use the knife for something you don't typically use a knife for, and going with a really thin blade just ups the chances of a knife breaking during those tasks. So my recommendation would be one of those three steels, and then either the Kephart or the Hunter Bushcrafter for the average deer hunter. I do have some other options. I have some blades that are in those metals that are a little thinner, some that are a little smaller. I don't like to go under 9 inches myself, so I do recommend keeping with a 9-inch length. Longer is better in my opinion than shorter, but that's my recommendations. That's not every single detail, so if there's something that's kind of confusing, feel free to ask down below. But that's my recommendation, is going with A2 tool steel, CPM 154, or S90V, and then the Hunter Bushcrafter or the Kephart design that I do. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and any one of those blades is going to work really well in those applications.